Okay, another thing's come to mind to do with serving. A few weeks ago, I went into some sort of small convenience shop, and this man gave me a 50p change, and God put it in my spirit that this man, was belittled to the point of like being a servant, like a manufactured servant. And he's not fulfilling his manhood, basically, like just being like a small time shop assistant. It was completely robbing him of who he was. Although like God says, like to be, like he came to this earth to be humble and to serve others, like in a humanity sense. God was more or less saying that we wasn't born to serve like the way these manufacturers make us serve, like to put us in small jobs, and like not for to fulfill our full potential, and like with everything that's like that comes with it, our families, we've been robbed of all that, like for population control. He says, like that we're fearfully and wonderfully made, and like, this guy who's like giving over the 50p, like he's not reaching his full manhood, is he? Like he's not operating in his fullest capacity. And this is the trouble with this kind of business minded system. It makes slaves of all of us, including myself. When I was like working as a full-time call centre person, I was like literally chewing my wrist pad out of boredom, and it's awful to do that, especially like to someone who's intelligent, who's probably, like come out of university, studied hard, and then ends up in call centres in menial small jobs. And this system is like kind of being made to fail, people that are graduates and things like that. So what God's saying, like start taking control. And I think like he really doesn't want these business people to exist anymore, in the current sense. He doesn't mind businesses being small businesses, family concerns and things, because like, like serving the community is a good thing, like your local butchers, things, community centres, like things in the community driven, but like these massive businesses have caused so much pain around the world, like with making slaves of people, and stuff like that. So God's saying, like, and I remember all the language being hijacked, in the 80s, 90s, like when you went to interviews to these big companies, you got to sell yourself, like the company was like the thing. And obviously they've got out of control now with the WEF, who are dictating, whether someone lives or dies, to do with this population control. As I say, it's firms within firms within firms, back to Freemasons again. These people who run businesses by stealing and pillaging and doing whatever they want. Greed is first, humanity later. They've got to go. God told me in a vision that like he wants to see all these buildings smashed down and farms put in their place. So it brings it back to the person on the level, and not having all these people who steal, our land and stuff like that, plonking themselves there illegally, taking, putting their jobs elsewhere and not serving the local community and stuff, and not really putting back into the countries that they've stolen from. So that's all from me.